You guys are definitely wanting a new start. Now, this is a new start where there is definitely, first and foremost, a clean slate and a lot of childlike joy and innocence surrounds this new start. So it's like we can get really happy and giddy about this type of new start, because of the whole childlike joy. I mean, oh, this would be some great energy to have all of the time, because how easy was it to make us happy when we were children? Things were so much easier. Well, for most of us, not all of us. So, but even a small thing could make us super happy. But that's the type of happiness and joy and innocence that surrounds this type of new start. I like this card because she just looks absolutely fierce. She's like, hey, I got my bag, I got my dog, I'm taking off like a boss. I'm going down this new path in this new direction, and I'm going to find my happiness. So some of you are really desiring a new start. Some of you are definitely already implementing this. Now, to clarify, we're getting the sun in the reverse position. So this is definitely going to indicate that there is probably going to be some delays that you come upon within your new start. Okay. Now, these delays, they can be super frustrating, and anger can come up here. So we have to be really careful because we can also feel a bit impatient, and we might end up saying something that could come across as a bit thoughtless and hurtful to someone else. Sometimes this can be where we might even have some hurtful actions. It's an impulsive type of feeling that goes with this. Now, with the sun in reverse, for some of you, this could be indicating that there could be issues within the home life. Perhaps if some of you are in relationships, there could be an issue. You could be at a proverbial crossroads within a relationship or a marriage, and you might be wondering if you should call it off. Most of you are just ready for this new start. But some of you, this may not be, as easily done as it is said. So now, the biggest thing here is with the sun, we're accomplishing the very things that we want. The things that make us happy, the things that we want that will make us happy are being delayed. So this becomes super frustrating, and sometimes we can begin to lose our optimism. And so this is exactly what I don't want you guys to do. This is why I'm preparing you guys. This new start is definitely going to be fraught with some delays, okay? Obstacles, that could come your way. Things may even feel like they're at a standstill at some point. But I don't want you guys to be discouraged, to lose your optimism, to lose your enthusiasm. It's a delay. It doesn't mean it's not going to happen, okay? It's just a delay. And while I understand how frustrating that is, I have to keep telling everybody that, delays are really a way of us being protected. It's kind of like the universe protecting us, so to speak, and we can't always see why or what we're being protected from, but everything happens for a reason. There's always a purpose for everything. If we're being delayed, then it's just not our time right this second. But it doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. It's just maybe certain things need to align, maybe certain circumstances need to occur. You know, it's going to be different for all of us, but I just want you guys to know, do not lose your optimism, do not lose your hope, your enthusiasm. And I'm just preparing you that there is going to be delays and obstacles that you encounter on this new start. But don't let it get the better of you. Don't allow yourself to become overly reactive and impulsive with your speech or actions, because this could cause us more problems in the long run. So, yes, let's just be careful and just, forewarned is forearmed. So, you're going to be dealing with delays, and I'm just letting you know, please don't lose your optimism, because things are going to get better. It will clear. And like I said, there's always a reason. We may not be seeing it or knowing why, but just think of it as you're being protected so that, everything goes off the way that it is supposed to. Because we do have some things we got to take care of here. And, that could be the holdup for the new start, because we need to close some things out before we can begin this new start. Okay, so, hey, what type of new start is this? So this will be your circumstances card. We have the Ace of Coins. So to me, this definitely would be indicating that there is some sort of new financial start. For some of you, this could indicate that there could be some financial opportunities that come your way. This could be a job opportunity, maybe even a partnership possibility. Either way, it's definitely a card of money coming in, and the focus is definitely upon our finances and our financial state. So we are being given that new financial start. Now, again, there are delays, so again, forewarned is forearmed, okay? I just want you guys to be prepared so that you understand why these delays are coming up. I wish I could personalize this a little bit more, but I can't, not with the masses. So, again, this is financial new start. Now, for the focus position, we have the Two of Wands in the reverse position. So, the focus position is literally the focus of the entire reading. So, this is like what we're going to be mostly concerned with. So with the Two of Wands in the reverse position, this is like we have set something into motion, perhaps with our Ace of Coins. We set something into motion, and it's, we're waiting on results. Unfortunately, with the Two of Wands in the reverse position, it's kind of like, now take one step forward, now take two back, and it's like I'm right back where I started, and sometimes this can indicate that perhaps, that there is some sort of backwards type of motion. Sometimes this can indicate that, we're going to have to change our plan, completely regroup, take a big look at the plan and, be objective, see if there's some things that we can modify, and tweak so that we can move forward with this particular plan. And sometimes this can indicate that we may have to start over entirely. It'll be different for every Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising. We all have different situations and whatnot. But ultimately, this is a card of delays yet again, so, and these delays are very, very frustrating. If this is about a business partnership, this could definitely be indicating that the partnership will not be balanced. So, yeah, that's something to watch out for. That's going to resonate with a few of you. For some of you, maybe you're looking for some sort of, support, maybe financial backing, maybe you're just not receiving that help right now. So again, this could be the time to take a step back and look at things from an objective point of view. Because we need to pinpoint what's wrong. Why is this not working? Why am I experiencing all these delays? What is it within my plan or within my actions, or perhaps a lack thereof when it comes to actions? Sometimes this can indicate that we're not making any action or movement towards our goals. So, you'll know where you fit in this scenario. Okay, so I got 2 clarifying cards. The first one is the 3 of Wands in reverse. So, this is definitely one where we can be wasting too much of our time and our energy focusing on, just a couple of details rather than the whole entire big picture. It's kind of like, we're just staring at 2 trees, but we need to be looking at the entire forest, okay? And we don't want to get caught up in, all the details, Now, sometimes this can indicate that perhaps maybe we're preoccupied with other things going on in our life. So maybe we haven't been able to put enough of our own time into this. That'll resonate with a few of you. Sometimes this is just, we've got too many irons in the fire. So for some of you, if you've got, a couple projects or jobs going already, well then, you're spreading yourself too thin. And we can't do our best if we're spreading ourselves too thin. Now, something else I should definitely warn you guys of is excessive pride and overly confident. These 2 things can definitely bring our venture to a grinding halt, okay? This can definitely get the better of us. So do not be overly prideful or overly confident, because this will work against us. It's good to believe in yourself and to have some pride, and to be confident. These things are good, but not to the point of excess. Okay? I just want to throw that out there. Sometimes this can be, maybe there's a lot of competition within this, particular area. This could be about a creative endeavor. This could be about a job. This could be many different things. So perhaps there could be a lot of competition that you have to deal with. Sometimes this can indicate that perhaps maybe our skill set or our set of abilities may not be, fine-tuned enough. So, it's definitely up to you guys to know where you fit into this scenario. Now, again, this is a card of delay and frustrations, but we really have to take a step back and look at things, because if we do not, this can cause us to have to, start over from scratch. And again, this card, if this is a business partnership or even like a collaboration with someone else, this could be indicating that perhaps things are not equal. And sometimes this can indicate that there are inadequate resources or info. So, information that is needed could be lacking. Or perhaps there could be a lack of resources, funding, money, finances. Okay, and the second clarification card is the Six of Wands in the reversed position. So the Six of Wands in reverse, this, this is something that we've put a lot of our time, a lot of our energy, and probably even a lot of hard work into. And yet we're experiencing lots of delays, frustrations. There's obstacles that are just coming up out of nowhere. Sometimes it can be like things have come to a complete standstill. So this can be super frustrating, okay? Very, very frustrating. But I don't want you guys to lose hope, okay? This is why I keep banging that drum, so to speak. I don't want you guys to lose hope. So, sometimes it can indicate that maybe the opportunities that you are seeking may not necessarily be available at this point in time. It doesn't mean they won't be later. Now, ultimately, it is a delay. Sometimes this card is pointing towards we really need to rest and relax. Maybe we're pushing ourselves too far, and it could do us a world of good to pull back and give ourselves that break, that physical break, that mental break, even the emotional break, because once we take that break, we can find ourselves being refreshed and we might be able to see things through a new set of eyes, so to speak, and that will make it a lot easier to pinpoint, is this something that I should continue with? Or is this something that I should just, scratch and start over? So it's up to you guys to know where you fit in at. But, ultimately, patience is needed here, okay? If this is something that you truly are passionate about and that you truly want, then patience is a must. And I know that you guys are not always the best with patience. I totally get it. But patience is needed. You have got to ride this storm out, okay? And if we're patient and we maintain our hope and our optimism and our enthusiasm, then hey, those obstacles will clear away when the time is ready. They will. But we have to have patience, because this can just simply be delayed for some, it might be postponed, but again, a delay happens for a reason. I'm telling you, it's almost like divine intervention sometimes. And I know I keep saying that, but think about it. I mean, say that you always keep your keys in your purse or in your pocket, and you go out to go to work and you realize they're not there. So you have to go back into your home. You got to find your keys. So by the time you find your keys, you get into your vehicle, you start going towards work, you're 10 minutes behind. Then you run into traffic, okay? And then you realize, oh wow, there's a huge accident up there. Well, guess what? That 10-minute delay could have happened to prevent you from being in that accident. And that's what I mean about a delay. Granted, that's a bit of a morbid example there, but, it's also kind of a bit of a generic one. But at the same time, it's going to help me to get my point across. These delays do happen for a reason. Sometimes we're being saved from something that we can't necessarily see or know or realize in the moment. But there is a purpose for everything. And we just have to have faith and hope, because things will work out when they are supposed to. Maybe look at it like if things worked out perfectly and they just all came together super quick, sometimes too soon, too quick can ruin it all, and you don't want to put all your hard work and effort and energy into something for it to magically come together real quick, and then to watch it fail, you know, in a year or less. We don't want that. So I would rather deal with the delay and know that when I get to move forward with what I want to do, what I want to achieve, that it's going to work. Okay? It's all about perspective and how we choose to look at things. Now, this would be our recent past. So we have the Page of Cups in reverse. So typically this is a card where we're getting frustrated yet again because there are delays and obstacles. Perhaps we're waiting on a message to come through, waiting to hear from somebody, and perhaps that message is not coming through. We're not hearing from them. Maybe we get some news that is, disappointing, disheartening, and sometimes things can appear to be at a complete standstill. And this can make us pretty emotional because we're so frustrated and sick and tired of dealing with all these delays. And this is the type of card where our emotions are pretty darn deep, okay? Especially regarding this situation. So we're better off talking to someone rather than holding it in. So if you have someone that you can trust, I highly recommend that you talk to somebody that you trust, and maybe they might even be able to help you see things in a different light as well. Maybe they might be able to point something out to you that maybe you weren't even thinking about. You never know. It can be really helpful, but this is the type of card where we can become super emotional, and then it can make us moody, and it just kind of goes from there, and we don't need to go there. We don't need to be losing our hope and our optimism and our enthusiasm, okay? Because this is the time that we need to maintain it. And we need to not just think it, we need to know that we are going to get what we want. We are going to succeed, okay? So we need to believe it. We need to know it. We need to feel it to the core of our being. If you're destined for success, nothing can stop you. And that's just the blunt of it right there. So this would be the present, the here, the now. So we have the Ten of Wands. Now, this is a card of carrying a tremendous amount of burdens, or like burdensome responsibilities. Sometimes this can be physically and mentally oppressive. It's tough. So it's like we're carrying a huge load, okay? And this is like too much of a load for one person to carry. You can carry it for a while, but you're not going to be able to carry it forever, and that's just a fact. So what it comes down to is we really need to prioritize, okay? We need to drop some of these wands. We have to. Because if we don't, then these wands are literally going to break our back, So sometimes this card can come up, especially if someone, maybe a friend, maybe a family member, maybe someone wants you to help them. And, maybe you want to help them and your heart would be in the right place. But let me tell you, this is a card where we really have to prioritize, okay? Because it's like we have too many irons in the fire as it is. We've spread ourselves too thin, and this is too much for one person to handle. So we really have to prioritize. We need to pick and choose which responsibilities are we going to continue to carry, and which ones can we let go of. Now, the ones that we decide, okay, I'm not going to carry this and this and this one anymore, make sure that you bring them to closure. You don't want to throw them upon somebody else that's unsuspecting. You know, if you have been helping someone else, you just need to let them know, hey, you know, I've got enough on my plate. I need you to take care of your own issues. I'm sorry. I tried, I did what I could, but I can't do it anymore. That's not selfish. It's just, I'm telling you, you don't want to end up making yourself ill, okay? Because this is too much for one person to handle. And if we focus upon other people's burdens on top of our own, well, guess whose burdens are going to suffer the most? Ours. Okay, it is being clarified by the Faith card. So, this is the card of conforming. This is the card of what is traditional, what is conventional, what is orthodox. It's also, to me, I like the way that it's named in this particular deck, Faith. It's also known as the Hierophant, but to me, this is a card of absolutely saying we must have faith. We need to maintain faith. And it's also this card of conforming where, you know, we may not like it, but sometimes we're going to have to conform to certain rules. And if we don't, then, you know, things may not work out. So we have to conform to certain rules to make things happen. But this is also, you know, saying you should conform. You should definitely get rid of some of these responsibilities, because anytime I see this card, I know that not all of these responsibilities are yours. They may feel like it, but not all of them are yours. And we really have to drop some. Because you're going to have to make your own responsibilities priority, or they suffer. For some of you, this could be something that is related to perhaps a marriage, a relationship, maybe something that has to do with higher education, the schooling system, maybe even church, philosophy. Sometimes this has to do with the whole bartering, a trade for a barter type of system where we trade a service for money or for something in return. But ultimately, we have to put those wands down. And I think that's the point of the Faith card, is it's just trying to clarify and confirm that, yeah, we need to conform. We need to lay some wands down because it's just too much. I know that you guys are like Superman and Superwoman, you know, but we can only handle so much. We can carry it for a while, but we can't do it forever, and we don't want our own responsibilities to suffer. Okay, moving forward. Okay, so for the near future, we have the Four of Cups in the reverse position. So this is actually better in the reverse position. So we are definitely coming out of a period of boredom and dissatisfaction, you know, discontent. Now we are getting our passion back. And it's like we're ready to take that emotional action and recreate some goals. This is a card where there is very much a strong possibility of some new opportunities that come up. Now, this can also be a time where it feels like nothing is happening, like everything's at a standstill, but it's really not, okay? So it may appear that things are at a standstill, but there are some things that are taking place behind the scenes, so to speak. And, you know, our hope is returning to us. We've come out of our contemplation and we're like totally motivated. We're ready to try new things, go in a completely different direction, you know, ready to, focus on something that is truly going to move you and make you feel passionate. Sometimes this can be new work, maybe a new goal, new ambition, this could be many different things, but no matter what, it equals opportunity. And sometimes it can appear that, things are just at a standstill, but they're not. Okay. So it is clarified by the Two of Swords in the reverse position. So this definitely indicates that there will be a decision that has to be made. And it looks like you guys aren't going to have to think very long on it. Looks like the decision is already made, or it soon will be. Okay, so for the attitude card, we have the King of Cups. So the King of Cups is an emotional man. Now, again, king, but this could be male or female. But with the King of Cups, this is an emotional king. But you would never be able to tell by the look on his face because he keeps his emotions restrained. They're very much controlled. They're like underneath the surface. And he has an excellent poker face. So it's like, you could look at someone like him and try to figure out what they're thinking or feeling, and you're not going to know because they're really good at putting on a, poker face. Really good at it. You're not going to know. And, overall, this King of Cups, he's really a compassionate person. He's a very good listener. So some of you could actually be a very good listener. Perhaps maybe you have friends that could be, seeking your advice. Maybe you give good advice. Maybe you're a good listener. Maybe you're able to teach people things because typically this King of Cups, he tends to deal with the tough emotions. So when people are going through those super tough situations where there's just a lot of rocky emotions, the King of Cups knows how to handle that. And he knows how to handle it with great compassion. So for some of you, you might be taking on some of these qualities. Perhaps maybe some of you are feeling a bit more emotional, but maybe you're able to hide it quite well. Good poker face. Good poker face. And maybe some of you are considering teaching. Maybe some of you are considering counseling others. That may or may not resonate with all of you, so. Okay, so this is how other people see you. This is an excellent card. So, the Six of Wands, this is very much a card of victory. This is where we've put in a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of energy, and we have steadily pursued a goal of ours, and we have emerged victorious. This is the card of victory. It is also the card of recognition and potentially receiving rewards for what we've accomplished. So this is an excellent card. Victory. Okay, so this is our hopes and our fears, and this is also a little bit of subconscious info. So we have the Hermit. So the Hermit is that card of receiving, wise, sage advice. Sometimes this can be information that comes from ourself, from our higher mind, from that inner voice. You know, some may refer to it as their intuition, their gut feeling. Now, for some of you, this could be about receiving information from someone else, you know, but no matter what, this is like we've been given wise advice. And it's advice that we should definitely listen to because it's good advice. It's good logical counsel. And, you know, like I said, some of you, this information, this advice will come through yourself. And for some of you, you'll reach out and you'll get advice from other people. And like I said, for some of you, I think some of you are actually being sought out for advice as well. Okay, so for the final outcome, we have the Knight of Cups in the reversed position. So, first and foremost, this could be indicating a person that could come into your life. This person may or may not already be present in your life or soon will be. Doesn't necessarily have to be. This could just be a condition that is going to be coming. But more than likely, this is going to be an actual person. Now, with the Knight of Cups, this can be someone who may potentially want to be in a relationship. And when I say relationship, I do mean romantic. So, but not always. This can be someone who wants to be in a romantic relationship. This could also be someone who comes in and, say, proposes an idea to us. Now, anytime we see this card in the reversed position, we have to be a little careful here. We have to be a little careful, especially if someone is trying to propose something. You know, I don't want to instill fear into anybody because that's just not good. But we do need to think about things. I just don't want you guys to make a quick, impulsive decision. You know, like if something is being proposed, say like a business offer that may get proposed, you know, do some investigation, do some research on the person, you know, do a background check, you know, do what you can to make sure that you're dealing with somebody that is got a good reputation and has a record of being able to prove their self. You just, as a good forewarning for some of you who may end up in a situation like this. Okay. Now, for those who are in relationships or may end up getting proposed for a relationship, now, this can indicate a fear of getting involved with other people. Sometimes there can be issues of commitment here. Perhaps maybe you don't want to commit. Maybe you're not ready to commit. Maybe there's an issue of trust that's much further down and deeper. Or this could be with the other person, that maybe the other person may have this issue. But overall, there is a fear of commitment. Now, on occasion, sometimes this can indicate that fears and overworked emotions can then kind of make our imagination go into overtime, and then this just breeds more fear. So that's not always very helpful. So sometimes, especially when we need to make a choice, this is where we kind of need to take our emotions out of it a little bit to make the choice with our mind. The best way to do it would be with, 50-50. But for some of us, it's not always possible, especially if we are feeling rather emotional. Sometimes this can indicate someone who may not be telling the whole entire truth. So there's always a bit of a warning that I give when I see this card, because you may or may not be able to trust the person. So someone may come in and offer you something or tell you about an opportunity, you know, and you may or may not be able to trust this person. And that's why I say do your research, you know, whatever that's going to entail. But do some sort of research before we just impulsively make a decision. I mean, to each his own. Do what you feel is best. This is your life. You know what's best for you. So I just advise that you do some research, you know, especially when it comes to like business deals, something like that, something where it's going to involve money. Yeah, we need to be really careful. I mean, for some of you, even the emotional issue, you know, you may want to just take things slow. If they don't want to be willing to go slow, then maybe they should just move along then. But again, to each his own, do what you feel is best. For some, this could be about a vehicle, okay? I feel that for some of you, there could be some sort of vehicle issues, but this is not going to be for all of you. And more than likely, this will be for people that know that they have something that's off in their vehicle and that's not acting as normal as it should. You'll know. So if your car's been acting fine, please don't take this energy on as it's going to happen to you. For these people that this is going to resonate with, they will know that something's been off amiss in their vehicle. And then I would just say, hey, we definitely need to get it looked at. You know, preventative maintenance is always a good thing. So, definitely. Now, to clarify, okay. So we have the Queen of Wands. Well, this in itself is a very positive card. Extremely positive. Typically, I associate her as a Leo. So for some of you, this could be about a Leo type of person in your life, especially if a relationship has been offered. But when we see the Knight of Cups in reverse here, I mean, there's definitely turbulent times when it comes to romance. That is for certain. And sometimes it can indicate that emotions are not being shared equally, so that's kind of a bummer as well. And sometimes we can see an issue of like say an engagement or an offer of a relationship where it gets postponed. Yeah. Now, this could be with someone that is a Leo. Now, again, not every Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign wants to be in a relationship or is even interested in that. So, for those who are not in relationships and have absolutely no desire to be in one, the Queen of Wands could be someone that you potentially already know, or someone who could soon be coming in. This could be male or female. Just because we see queen does not mean that they will absolutely be female. They can be male or female. And it is a possibility that he or she could be Leo or Aries or Sagittarius or just in general. Maybe they have some of the Leo type qualities. She has very dominant, commanding type of presence. So she can walk into a room, you know, everybody can be preoccupied doing whatever, you know, talking, watching TV. And she walks in and boom, people just automatically look at her because she has that very commanding, dominant presence. So even if she doesn't want the attention, she still ends up getting it. Now, this person would be very in touch with their intuition. This is also someone who oozes confidence. They believe in their self. They believe in their abilities. very much, very, very good self-esteem, very good self-confidence. They believe in themselves. Now, this is someone who can actually manifest. They can, I mean, we can all manifest, but typically when we see this card, this is someone who is really good at manifesting and creating, you know, the very opportunities that they want. It's almost like second nature to them. It comes so easily to them. So it's like they want something, they literally set that intention out into the universe, and boom, you know, here comes an opportunity, or here comes that new start that's going to lead them right to what they, you know, expect and what they want. You know, so this is someone who has tremendous power to manifest. Now, for those of you, you know, this could be indicating that you could potentially manifest your new reality, your new start. I mean, the opportunities are definitely around. But again, you know, we do need to be careful of what may be proposed, especially if it has something to do with the business opportunity. This is why I say do the research. Make sure this person is got a good, you know, reputation. Like I said, I mean, especially if it had to do with someone wanting, you know, part of my money to invest or something. Oh, I'd want a background check and I want the full meal deal, you know, but to each his own, to each his own. So, yeah. But definitely manifestation abilities. But most of all, believing in herself or himself. I mean, this is what you need to do. Especially with that sun there in the reverse, which also happens to be a Leo card. Coincidentally, so I feel like this is very much tied to you guys, seeing how our first clarification card was the sun. So maybe you just need to believe in yourself. Maybe some of you might be caught up in a relationship, or, you know, romantic or platonic relationship, and maybe you're just not comfortable. Maybe things are on the fritz and you're ready to go. Well, with this type of confidence and ability, you can go. Or you can manifest your way out of it real quick. So I would not worry. But again, you know, with the Knight of Cups, you know, this can be indicating that there will be some sort of delay. But with this manifestation ability and this tremendous belief in oneself and self-confidence, a delay is not going to get them down. And it shouldn't get you down either. Because you're going to ultimately get what you want. Okay? Granted, we're dealing with a lot of delays and setbacks, and they're super frustrating, and no one wants obstacles, you know, I get it. But you must believe in yourself and your abilities. This is the key. Believe in yourself. Have the confidence and know. You got this. You do. Okay, so for the bottom of the deck, we have the Queen of Coins. So this is our financial queen. This is our material queen. Again, you know, it could be male or female. But I feel that we're just generally dealing with finances, because I feel that most of this is focused on the finances, financial new starts, and opportunities. So you guys would definitely be interested in growing your wealth, so to speak. And the Queen of Coins is definitely good at teaching another person how to acquire, financial stability and saving and creating wealth. They like to help people, and they like to sit behind the scenes and watch as they grow and they prosper. Okay, now this does make sense. So the clarification card is the Eight of Cups in the reverse position. So when the Eight of Cups is in the reverse, this indicates that we are returning back to the physical and the material side of life. So when it was in the upright position, it's like we took off. We went on a spiritual quest. We wanted to go see, is the grass greener on the other side? Is there something over there that I'm missing out on? And, I tend to refer to that as the spirit quest, but we are now back. So we are back to the physical side of life, the material side of life. We've got our passion back. We're ready to enjoy. We're ready to make new friends. We're ready to make new friends, opportunities, even potentially get into a new relationship. That's just for some of you. That's not going to resonate with all of you, but yeah, some of you do desire that. Some of you may have opportunities that come up for you that could be job related. And I'm feeling that's where most of you are at, is this is mostly financial related, but I'm feeling that for a portion of you guys, it's going to be about relationships. So, because not every Sagittarius sun, moon, and rising is exactly the same. I know I've probably said that 5 times now, but that is just the truth of the matter. So, I mean, these are both definitely good cards to have together if you're interested in making money. And I know that that's what you guys are definitely interested in. It's just, you need to realize that there are going to be some obstacles and frustrating delays, but nobody can keep Sagittarius down for long. So just look at it like that, okay? You guys are going to come back up, but I do want you guys to be careful, especially if a business offer is proposed. I want you to be careful. I mean, even if an emotional offer is proposed, you might want to do some reflecting before you, actually answer and make a choice, because we don't want to make impulsive decisions here. We definitely want to do some research. For a relationship, we definitely want to do some self-reflection and introspection. Is this what you really want? Because ultimately, we need to be going after the things that we are passionate about. Passion. Okay? I want you guys to keep your head up. Do not lose your hope, your optimism, your enthusiasm. I'm telling you, things are going to get better. I know this is a bit of a roller coaster, but we do have plenty of opportunities, and I believe that a lot of it is taking place more behind the scenes, so it's not so obvious, but things are brewing in the background for you guys. So it's going to get better. And look, we got the card of victory, so your victory, your success is not far off. I just want you guys to be forewarned, because forewarned is forearmed. But most of all, believe in yourself. When you believe in yourself, then you can do anything you want to do. So keep your head up and believe in yourself. I believe in you. I need you to believe in yourself, okay? I love you guys, and I'm sending you blessings of healing, prosperity, and love.